the government was ready to cooperate. Those who took these matters to court refused. The Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeals then attempted once again to hear the appeal right here in BASSETERRE, St. Kitts during the week of November the 2nd, 2009. But I am advised that those who were in fact present and took the matter to court are not ready. But we, the government, are ready to cooperate. My fellow citizens, because of the unusual circumstances that the above-mentioned court cases have created, I thought that we should together have a clear understanding of what we should expect and when. As you know, we are now in the 5th year since our last election. Because the Constitution anticipated that by this time the country would be in election mode, it has made provisions for the automatic dissolution of Parliament on December the 16th of this year. All that this means, however, is that Parliament will no longer meet on a routine basis for the passing of laws. Instead, Parliament will meet on matters of national importance, if and when, in accordance with the provisions of Section 47, subsection 5 of the Constitution. The Governor-General authorizes them to do so at the request of the Prime Minister. Let me say here also that although many fail to make the distinction, the Parliament and the government are not one and the same. And so under the Constitution, even after the dissolution of the Parliament, the government still continues to ensure that the interests of the nation are protected and the public's business attended to until the holding of elections, just as it has when parliaments have been dissolved before. I emphasize that ministers of government will continue meeting their ministerial responsibilities, and government departments and agencies, they will continue functioning just as before, because the Constitution fully expects and indeed requires that the nation's business continue to be taken care of. Let me say now that my government accepts and indeed honors the independence of our judiciary. An independent judiciary is, after all, an important cornerstone of all modern democracies. However, it is also a fact that the cases brought before the court are quite different from the average case before the courts where two or more private entities are in conflict. The bringing of these cases has a direct bearing on a number of constitutional matters, which would affect not me as a private individual and not the plaintiffs in their personal and individual capacities. But instead, these cases have a direct bearing, as I've said, on the procedures via which Parliament sits. The deadline by which, under ordinary circumstances, elections must be called, and a range of other constitutionally relevant issues. And so, in light of this, while I understand the care with which these cases must be reviewed by the courts, as the democratically elected Prime Minister of this country, I hereby call on all parties to this process to place the interest, and I repeat, to place the interest of our nation above all else. And again, it is my hope that the courts will be mindful of and sensitive to the fact that an entire nation, and not private entities, has been respectfully awaiting its ruling. In the interim, the work of my government goes on. Our responsibilities to the people are being met and will continue to be met. And the growth and stability of this, our beloved country, remains my government's most sacred priority. May God continue to bless and guide us throughout this period and for as long as we shall live. My fellow citizens, residents, friends, I thank you.